It's not as easy as ABC. Basically, the roads to that is really a roller coaster ride. It's not a straight path forward.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to our Safe Space podcast brought to you by Women and Wealth Workshop, Aisya, Rahman Advisory. In the past episodes, we talk about wealth and many other things, but particularly this one, we want to emphasize more on health and wealth because at the end of the day, I truly am a firm believer of health is wealth. Today, I decided to invite someone from our earlier cohort 3 Women and Wealth Workshop, our alumni, who is a medical practitioner. She's none other than our Dr. Suraya. Welcome, Dr. Suraya, to our Safe Space podcast. So happy to see you because bila you masuk enroll cohort 3 What year was that?
2023, August.
So it's been 2 years. So kita banyaklah boleh belajar from your journey kan. I know who you are. For context, Dr. Suraya is our resident doctor for our entire team in Women and Wealth. She's also someone who helps us look into our semua benda lah. Sebab sisi pasal health kan. Tapi Dr. Suraya is the one yang tekankan wealth first. Jadi Dr. Suraya, I know who you are. Can you explain a little bit about your background, who you are as a person, what you like to our audience?
Hi, my name is Dr. Suraya. I run my own clinic somewhere in PJ. Currently, I'm the resident there. I'm into reading at the moment, more to motivational books and also psychological books basically.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So Dr. Suraya, you dulu dengan you sekarang, I mean, I'm so privileged, right? In Women and Wealth, I get to watch your transformation as an individual and then also your clinic. Tapi orang selalu kat luar sana kan, dia rasa jadi doktor ni stable. For context to those who's watching, Dr. Suraya was not in the private practice. She didn't run her own clinic dulu. She was in KKM. Can you tell me how's life back then masa you tengah medical practitioner dekat KKM?
It was hectic basically.
Your daily schedule, working hours?
Because you need to do on calls. Back then I was working in Johor. Morning shift will be 8 to 5, but sometimes it can go up to 6 or 7. But during on calls time, you have 1 month, say 8 to 9 on calls.
Does it get extended after night?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it depends. If there's not enough people, then you need to work.
And most of the time cukup tak orang?
Of course not.
A lot of people quit already?
Not that, because it depends on the department. So some people they want this department, some do. Some prefer to be in another department.
What is the top departments generally? And the suffering department pun mana juga? Patients yang pergi situ pun dia tahu dah nasib dia apa.
I would say that would be medical wards. So back then I was in the pediatric ward.
Oh, kids lah. Okay, then you were in KKM for how long?
I'm starting from 2011 until 2018.
Oh wow, that's a long time. What made you to finally decide, okay, you know what, KKM has been a good ride, but maybe there's more for me out there. What was the motivating factor for you to really consider that decision?
At the time when I was doing my on-call, okay, because when we're doing on-call, we are busy, so you get tired. The timing itself, you don't have the time. Yes, when you are doing on-call, you get your on-call money. But then after that, it's just like, not to say there's no life to it, but it's just work at home, work at home. And you don't really get to spend your money that much.
Good problem, no? Tak dapat
No.
spend duit, you want to spend. Okay, good point.
And then I was thinking, if in 10 years, 20 years down the road, am I going to be the same working like this? You don't really get your time for your own. Then I started thinking that maybe I need to do something else, or maybe I need to change, or I need to move. So that's when I decided, let's start somewhere. You know, there's always first time for everything.
Yeah.
So I wrote up my resume and then sent to private hospitals and all. That made me end up in KL here.
I see. So from Johor, then you send your resume to KL, and now of course you have your own practice. But from KKM, was it straight to your private practice, or you were transitioning to a private hospital first?
Private hospital first.
Isn't it as tiring because it's still hospital?
Yeah, but at least you get the time.
So there's more time in private hospital.
I would say, yeah, compared to the government. Plus point would be your salary is more, so it's more worth it. Money is not about everything, but everything needs money nowadays. Life and your money, it should be balanced. So only then it will be worth it, worthwhile.
What were some of the things that you had prepared yourself? Because I know throwing in a towel from KKM, kan, you're leaving behind such big comfort. The pension. Do you have pension?
Yes.
So that's a lot of people punya fear, like, I'm going to give up my pension. I'm ingrained to this pension scheme whereby my lifeline after retirement will be guaranteed. But you were so willing to let that comfort go and go into discomfort. What was some of the preparation that you took then in 2018, leading up to your final resignation from the government sector?
So basically during my MO-ship days in government, I do my side hustle as well as a locum doctor most of the time. When I'm not working or when I'm not on call, I'll do my side hustle. From there basically, we have some portion of money that we set aside. That money from starting lah kan until 2018, that's quite long lah. During that journey, the savings that you build up, so you need to know because you don't have pension. Again, when you're working in the private sector, you need your insurance, basically liability insurance for doctors, which is compulsory. That you need to pay on your own.
Is it expensive?
It depends on your
Nature of risk lah. Okay.
so it can be go up to a few thousands.
Okay.
Which if you are working with government,
It's paid for.
So that second thing, that's when all these things you need to plan first. So if this is the salary that you're gonna take, you need to deduct. Number third would be your tax. Because when you're working in private, your salary will be high, also your personal tax will be higher. Compared to when you're working with government, your salary will be this much. So your income tax, personal, not so much. It's balanced, okay.
They contract later when you retire, right?
Yes, because you have all the allowance also from the government. Compared to private, you don't have a specific allowance as the government
I
side.
see.
So that's the three things that you need to think and plan first before you quit, basically, for me, I think.
So apart from that, preparing that runway lah, we call it, right? The financial, and then knowing that tax is going to be higher later, you have to pay for your own professional indemnity. Are there any other compensation or I would say penalty that you needed to pay for quitting government?
For myself, yeah, we need to pay for that because we need to work for 10 years basically in the contract. So if it's just less than 10 years, you need to pay.
What's the formula like? Your monthly salary times how many months that you owe the government, is it?
It depends on the funds that they gave you over 10 years.
Generally, how much does it cost to belajar that they sponsor you? In the range of?
If you are studying overseas, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 1 million. So
wow.
if Malaysia,
India.
if I'm not mistaken, is around 300 to 500,000.
I see. Now I recap. In order to quit, to finally throw in the towel to the doctors who are listening from KKM, the runway that you have to prepare in the transition from having pension to you being your own pension, and then most importantly the penalty. So if you're within your bond period, you have to be careful.
Yes.
Otherwise, after bond, berhenti je lah.
Yeah, correct. But if you're Mara, it depends on the bonds. Yeah.
Take you back to 2018, you finally quit. Can you recall what was it like when you finally quit and you were on your own? It's like freedom, no?
Okay, yes, it's freedom. Basically, I was working in private somewhere in Sungai Buloh at that time. When it comes to freedom, it also comes with the money. But yes, they deduct the income tax and everything. And for that 1 month, you realize that whatever you're doing, that you plan, actually is not the same.
So planning and
Not the
execution
same.
are two different
Yeah.
things. In what sense?
The amount of the money, basically. The salary is this much, but taking into account your income tax, your
EPF.
rental, EPF,
What rental?
house rental, and
Okay,
everything,
okay.
because you're moving. So
I
back
see.
then, when you're working with the government, they
got-
have a quarters house which is free.
And that's a big
Yeah.
adjustment, right? From
Yes,
Johor to KL.
exactly. So if you have this big chunk of salary and then deduct your income tax and then your rental in KL,
Well, not bad, yes.
not bad, yeah. So it just leave you a space of like, ngam.
No. And did you have regrets when you finally saw the actual net figures that you finally got into your pocket, kan? But you had time. Did you compare?
Yes, I do compare. It will be a little bit raised compared to when you're working in the government. Whether I regret? No, I don't regret. As myself, for me, because I'm a workaholic, so back then, when you get all this salary from the government, you do locum as well. So the monthly salary net that you got, it's like much more. So when I started in KL, it's just a private hospital. So I didn't do locum because it's new to me. So for that 1 month, I didn't do anything. Then when I realized, oh no, I can't just sit back and relax because this is not me. No.
Because
Can't
suddenly
be.
you had
So there's
time.
a lot of things, yeah. So suddenly you need to think back. So that's when again you look for locum. My schedule in private is much better because more of the timing is daytime. Work and weekends is off. So early on a bit difficult. You're just new. But when they know the way you work and all, yeah, so you got permanent locum. So it started to be okay again.
That okay period. So there is always the impression, oh, doctors, private doctors, wealthy, balling because they are stable lah. What's your take on that?
No, actually, no, because honestly, we are young back then.
We're still young, we're 25.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still young now. You have your salary, you have this much of salary, and then you have your commitments. But after you deduct all your commitments, you still have this much of salary. So, sometimes you spend. So if you ask me, yes, sometimes you spend. So compared to when you're working with the government, I mentioned you don't really have time because you'll be just sleeping because you're tired from the on-calls and all. But I'm working private. Back then, for myself, I'm not comparing with others, doctors who are working in private. For me, for my schedule, I got lots of free time, but I do locums. Again, on certain days which I feel like I want to rest, that's the day where I got to spend the money.
So because you had time and you had money,
Correct.
something that you didn't have before. You had
Yes.
money before but no time. So the formula is incomplete. When the lifestyle persisted, ada duit, ada masa, what happens? What started happening?
And I started thinking again, is this enough? Then started, no, this is not enough. It's never enough, honestly. So you started to think, what else do I need to do to get more? So from there, I started venturing into clinic business. So that's how it started because, you want more.
But what is more? How to get
Yeah,
more?
it's like, it feels good, right?
So when you finally ventured into exploring clinic practices, what was some of the, in the beginning? Working in private hospital is different than opening up your own business.
Correct.
What did you learn over there?
So it's totally different. It's not as what I expected.
What
it
were
to
your
be.
expectations?
It's not as easy as ABC. Basically, the roads to that is really a roller coaster ride. It's not a straight path forward, but I managed to pull it through. It all depends on the plan of how you manage it.
When did you start your own clinic?
The 2020
Oh my god,
Yes.
the year of COVID.
specifically would be the day 1 week before MCO.
MCO was 18 March, was it?
Yeah,
So
so
you-
1 week before. So 1 week after that, boom, MCO. Finish. It's done.
If you can just take us back to that path, right? To that journey of you just started your business with aspirations and hopes and dreams. Tiba-tiba lockdown. How did you feel at that time? What were your fears and worries?
It's very devastated. I'm still new basically to doing business. Whether this is enough, especially my commitments, and then I need to pay for the stuffings and all. The worriness is whether is this enough? So back then it's like it should be enough.
Okay.
It's enough because it's more than enough because you're doing business. When MCO comes, sets in, it's like, is this enough?
So from hopeful to like you started doubting. Technically MCO lasted for a couple of months. Was there any business or memang no business?
Yeah,
at
but
all?
very slow, as mentioned, because if it's business, you need to have like 6 months of your own savings to cover for yourself. Technically, I'm doing that at that time.
Did you almost give up?
Give up was never on my dictionary, basically. My dad used to say to me, usually he will call up. So when MCO comes and then he called me, he told me, this is a blessing in disguise, basically. So he called up one day during that MCO. So he called me, he said whether I'm okay or not. I said I'm okay. It's a blessing in disguise, basically. If I were to be still working in the hospital, I'll be handling COVID cases. And that will make him a bit worried,
Yeah.
Back then it was all a bit still struggling. We don't know about these viruses, but we know it's quite
Severe.
severe. We don't want to get near this virus at all. So that's why when you call up, you say it's a blessing in disguise. You're working, your business is slow, okay? Because you won't be seeing that much patient. Technically, you won't be handling all these positive COVID cases. Not as if I were to work in a hospital. That made him relief. So that's why he said it's a blessing in disguise.
It's so good to have a support system that helps us see the other side of things when we're so bogged down with duit.
Yeah, money with the business, but you have to see the other side of the story.
So for other doctors, right, who wants to venture and go through that route, do you recommend that they jump out of KKM, go straight into private, opening their own clinic, or follow your path to private hospital first and then consider really whether you want to open your own clinic? Why I say this, okay? Because you and I were in the same business school and we see that all these doctors clinic, whether vet ke, dentist ke, or GP, it's mushrooming. Is it really that easy to simply, besok nak buka clinic?
It's not easy as that, but if you have the resources, for me, it's better to actually get the experience first. Only then after that venture into your own business. Because if just by working 3 or 4 years, you need to have that experience. Only then you'll be seeing lots of cases. Only then you know what to do, basically. So you'll be seeing lots of cases, different cases in GP settings. But whether you know how to do it or not, it depends on your experience handling the cases.
Prior to quitting and setting up your own.
Yes.
Okay. So it's been from 2020 to 2025. It's been 5 years you ran your own business. What were some of the things that you are thankful for today?
Number one, I'm thankful that basically for myself, because I'm workaholic, I work. When you open the business early on, back then, you have to be in your clinic, day in, day out, from morning till night, on daily basis, basically. You get to rest in between in the clinic itself. I don't do off days. I'll be working throughout weekends as well. Because as mentioned during that COVID time, it's less patients around. So I'll be there in the clinic almost every day. So you don't get that time. But again, because hard work is a different story. And then planning your finance very, very well. I think that you need to do something about it.
Business finance or personal finance?
Both.
So it's different lah.
Because you have to have your own personal finance sorted out as well as your business finance as well. If you can manage your personal very well, then your business finance you can manage it very well as well, because the basic is there.
Because it's a reflection, right?
Because this is personal, this is just business. It's the same.
So you're saying that someone who manages business finance well, also to speak like on the surface area, we think that they are managing the business finance well. By right, they should also have personal finance sorted out.
Correct.
It's not a disconnect between the two. That's a very good
It's
point.
the same.
So coming forward now, it's been 5 years and you're definitely, because you are our alumni from cohort 3. Because, everything is sorted out, right? You mentioned you mastered business finance, personal finance. But what pulled you in towards our way, towards Women and Wealth? And it was the beginning point, cohort 3. What were you looking for at that point of time?
When I joined Aisya's masterclass back then, I was looking back then, once after the COVID sets in and everything, so the business booms again. As usual, working as usual, business as usual. And then started to realize, hey, you know what? We need to do something again. We need to do new things again, because now we need to think about our retirement plan. So then it comes down to, hey, I need to invest. So, I need to invest more so that my retirement funds will be much better. I can't be working until I'm old. So, there will be a certain age that I need to retire myself. But
so you have that realization.
Yes.
A lot of business owners, they want to work till kubur.
You know what? I need to think about my retirement. I love to read. I've been reading a lot of investment and everything, but that's through books, that's through books. So I need to invest more. So the thing comes is, I don't know where to invest. So that's why when I flipped through my IG and all, then suddenly I saw Aisya's post on this masterclass, and that's when I joined.
With the intention of preparing, you were clear already from the onset lah. You were looking for something to match your retirement planning. Whatever you've learned in Women and Wealth. Did you get whatever you wanted from the topic of investment? What did you discover about yourself?
First, you need to not only about the investment basically, but actually the basic of it. To know your savings and everything. You need to have a strong basics on this finance, on your money management. Only then you can talk about your
the bigger
investment.
things.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't talk about investment if you don't have the strong roots for your finance management.
Because a lot of people today, what's happening is they run out of money, so they jump straight, where can I invest for extra income? What's your thoughts on that?
No, you need to have a strong roots on your basic finance management first, and after that, only then you can think of investment. But you sort this out first, and then only then you jump into investment.
What's the impact when you have a very strong or stronger roots in the basic foundation of personal finance, and then only subsequently then only take your time first lah kan to fix that out, and then go into investing? What's the positive aspect when you have a very strong personal finance?
Because you will know all the loopholes then. So when you have all the basics and you know your savings, you need to save.
And by how much, right? Because savings is subjective. Some people think 1,000 ringgit cukup lah.
So your savings, and then covering your insurance basically for your future, and then it's about your investment. And again, after that investment, you need to think about the hereafter. That's when I learned also in Aisya's class about the hereafter, that we need to take into account as well, not only retirement but also the hereafter.
The next chapter after retirement, right? What stood out to you the most in your journey when you were going through Women and Wealth? What stood out to you? What was the realization or breakthrough when it comes to the topic of hereafter? Because why I say this, I'm sure in your line of work before and then now you're a doctor, right? Death is like a normal thing, but now we are approaching death not from the health perspective. We are approaching it from the wealth perspective.
The thing is, I'm not prepared at all for this hereafter chapter basically. So I never thought of this hereafter. What I think at that time is just until investment and then retirement, and that's all.
I
Complete. I missed that point. So that's the hereafter chapter, which is actually important, as important as the investment and everything as a whole. So it becomes a whole all together. So it binds everything. Because in the hereafter, we need to know. Because the next chapter after the retirement, of course we will be in the hereafter. So we need to know where we need to disperse all the wealth that you already accumulate.
Is it really about wealth?
It's about wealth, but I realized that wealth you accumulate, you're not going to bring it to your hereafter. There's lots more other than that you need to bring to your hereafter, which I didn't have. Since we pass away, there will be three things that
will follow you till the hereafter, not your wealth.
Number one is your
Doa
yang
soleh.
soleh, and then your sedekah, and then ilmu yang bermanfaat. So that's only three things that you're going to bring to hereafter. So it's not the wealth itself. So you learn that from your wealth, you need to do lots of things basically to gain your hereafter.
So basically, the hereafter topic is like the next door that can help you for your hereafter. Only if you attempt to handle the conversation now. A lot of people, regardless of age and background, they find this hereafter or mati as a taboo conversation. Why do you think that is so? Macam orang kena cancer from the angle of health. I just want to compare health and wealth side by side in the topic of mati juga. Bila orang kena cancer, they know, oh, I'm going to die. What do? Technically, they try and extend and prolong their health by eating right, improving their health situation, maybe repair certain broken relationship, ask for forgiveness from the people around them, and then ask for forgiveness and repent to Allah when you know you have cancer. But from the angle of wealth, and if you don't have any medical condition, you're forever healthy, it's so hard to approach the mati topic from the wealth subject because people think they live forever. And when we talk about it, diorang sentak, marah, triggered to a certain extent. Why is that so? And what was the breakthrough for you? Because I know in our Women and Wealth journey, ramai orang kita jumpa, they don't talk about mati. Tapi they talk about investment. But mati is also an investment.
Correct.
The biggest investment.
First day of the class, I realized if I were to pass away now, then in an accident or what, suddenly today, pass away, so I didn't bring anything for my hereafter. That's the thing that made me realize, hey, I need to change. So that made me really think of that I need to change lots of my thinking, everything.
Way of life
way
as
of
well.
life as well. Yes. Which then I realized that I've not been doing a lot of things for my hereafter. So this is the time, there's always first time for everything. So this is the time for me to start through learning from Aisya's class.
That is such a big transformation that people cannot see because they think that coming into Women and Wealth is like, oh, you're going to get richer even more. But that's never our intention from day one. But that's the perception lah. Now, 2 years after Women and Wealth, Doctor, you came in August 2023. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy to see you again now in 2025. What are some of the things, the changes that you see in you that you really, oh my God, you really love your changes and transformation today?
So basically, not only did I learn about the financial part of my personal money management thing, and then about my investment as well, and then I got to learn and actually change myself to be a better version of myself basically when it comes to the hereafter. I'm still a work in progress basically, so lots of things. I started to change my thinking, doing lots of spiritual readings on a daily basis. When you are into this, reading all the spiritual readings and all, it really helps you in your inner part to be more stronger, and then you are clear in whatever you do in daily basis basically.
Because faith before finance, Allah before finance. MashaAllah. I learned a lot, doctor, just seeing your transformation, and I really love that financial was just the beginning, but it wasn't the ending. It was then to move towards something greater beyond than ourselves, which is spiritual, and then really moving towards hereafter. Because a lot of people, they orang ada disconnect tau. Financial, spiritual. Padahal it's aligned. Rukun Islam pun pakai duit. So kalau you kata financial literacy is not important, I really disagree lah. What would be your takeaways or message, maybe two message, to the doctors who are listening from either KKM, private practice, GP?
When we talk about doctors, right, we do have our own ego basically to learn something new or something that we know, because of course, same as for myself, we do have our little bit of ego because we got this much, we know already how to manage our money well and everything. So for me, it's good if we can set those egos aside. We need to unlearn, to relearn the new things in life so that you know what you need to do and what you need to change basically, because it's not just about money itself, it's a whole in the hereafter as well. Of course, through this wealth, we can actually take care of our family as well through the hereafter.
So money is just a tool. Jangan jadi hamba kepada dia. I think today I learned a lot from you, looking from, because I always look at wealth perspective, but it's also integrating now wealth and health. And lagi lah from you as a doctor, just trying to understand how your thought process, and I hope it gives inspiration to everyone, whether doctors or not out there, to go beyond than just financial. Financial is only the beginning, but it's never the ending, because the ultimate ending is your investment in yourself, which will lead you to the investment in your akhirat. And so with that, Doctor, alhamdulillah, thank you so much once again. We have come to the ending of this Safe Space podcast, this current episode. If you like more of this episode, please drop a comment and suggest whoever that you want us to bring on board. Otherwise, if you want to collaborate with us, you can email us at marketing@aisyaRahman.com. And I humbly ask that you share this podcast, especially to doctors out there, because doctors are saving lives, but doctors, the most important life is yours. Save yourself first before others. Till then, I'll see you in the next episode. Assalamualaikum.